Hello there. Welcome to our Dia de los Muertos celebration. You happy to be here? Smile.
Big smile.
Why are we smiling? Because we're having special guests. Yeah? There is a tradition. It's from the Mexican culture. It is called Dia de los Muertos, which is translated Day of the Dead. And on this special day, we invite our loved ones who have gone on to their next life experience to come and visit us. It's a beautiful tradition, do you think?
I do think, after watching Coco today, I learned a lot about it. It's a very interesting tradition. Liked it.
Yeah, we heartily recommend the movie Coco. You know, I knew about Dia de los Muertos because Sammy kind of taught me to, and she was really into it. And but I avoided seeing the movie.
It looked like it was going to be a child's movie, which basically it's supposed to be, and it's very safe for children to watch. But it was also wonderful for adults. The music is wonderful, the animation is very good, and the story is great.
It's great, and I'm just not an animation fan, so it took a bit, and when I saw it, I said, oh my God, I just love that. So I'm giving special thanks to Sammy for making sure that I was aware of it. So, you know, this is also All Souls Day, you know, and were you supposed to go to church today?
Yes, I was supposed
No, were you supposed to go All Saints Day or All Souls Day?
I was supposed to go All Saints Day, and we passed by the time. I was busy closing up at the campground, and to tell you the truth, I missed it, and I feel bad about that.
Well,
I'll have to go twice next year.
God knows you're doing your best, and certainly that you're thinking about it and doing the best job that you can. So, in the Catholic tradition, on All Souls Day, first we have All Saints Day. All Saints Day is for everybody, you know?
For everybody.
Saints are not limited. You know, some people think that it's not okay to be praying to saints. And I'd like to say, I don't think anything could be further from the truth.
No, you take the help from wherever you think you can get it, and if somebody's willing to help you, think about it at least.
Who's to say that because someone's on the other side, they can't hear us? They can't know that we're here, and you know, you have to do pretty good to be a saint, don't you?
Yeah. I'm working on it.
I used to want to be a saint, and I did, and then I found out that most saints were martyred.
That was the end of the trip, right?
That was the end of that dream, I'll tell you that right now. But I had another thought about it. Before we go there, we want to celebrate our living and those who are living on the other side, L'chaim, which means to life. And may it take that tickle away. So, what do you think about this, Val? You know, we're supposed to be praying for the souls in purgatory. Now, purgatory, if you're not familiar with that term, is the place that certain traditions say that you go to work off your punishment for your sins. You know, it's like pre-hell. It gives you a chance to figure it out. But I had this thought, Valerie. I'm thinking we're the ones in purgatory.
Do you think that?
Yep.
I don't know.
We call that karma.
Karma.
Yeah, because you're trying to work off your lessons to be learned in spirit, and
it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
If you start thinking about it, you don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a sinner. I feel like I'm trying.
Right. Some traditions would say that you are a no good, dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Anybody who knows me knows I am not that.
No.
Okay, enough of that. Let's go on with more
Now without
Dia
the flaws. If I got flaws, she got flaws, and I'll tell you, I got a few flaws. But we wanted to tell you a little bit about who we're celebrating with today. Unfortunately, we did not have the time to get all the pictures of our loved ones who are on the other side together, but we do have some recent ones. And that's something I want to point out about not enough time. How tempted were you to say, can we just skip this because we really don't have the time?
I was tempted, but I really didn't want to. I really wanted to do it, but I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to really show that I appreciate what the people that we're honoring, and I hope that somebody thinks about the same thing once I'm on the other side.
Yeah, invite us to your celebration.
That's right.
You know,
we have snacks.
Set up
everything.
a little ofrenda. This is an altar, and it's not about spooky woo-woo stuff. It's just about loving and honoring those who've gone on. So on what we did have time to make, and next year you'll get more, but what we had time for at this time is, of course, our most recently departed from this realm is Donald. And one of the things we do when we do Dia de los Muertos is tell kind of stories, but they're positive and upbeat stories because they're probably a whole lot happier than we are. Just saying.
Well, to tell you the truth, it's very sad being without him. It's been a long time. But also along with him, there are 2 horses there that passed. And they were good and wonderful horses. And I felt very bad to lose both of them, either of them. And then when Don went also, that was very difficult. But he loved those horses, and I think they loved him too. But it were great companionships, and I'd like to honor that. I think it's wonderful that maybe they are still together. I would like to think so.
I don't see any reason not to.
I know.
You know, scientists say we're all energy. Everything is energy, and energy never dies, but it does change form. So they've gone from having form to being formless. And I think sometimes that the reason we don't feel their presence more is, I think we're not alone here. I just feel it. I don't know if you feel anything. I feel we're not alone right this second. But you have to be open to the possibility. And she's not going to answer that phone because she answers it all the time and it's just hackers. So we're going to tell them to go away. If it's an emergency, she'll go. But right now we got other stuff to do. So we got Don and we got our mom and dad there. Now, you notice in front of our dad, we have a bottle of Southern Comfort. Now, that title, that name.
That's Don's voice, in case you wanted to know what he sounded like.
Don joined us. Is that too funny?
I
told you I felt it before the phone rang.
He was listening.
That to me is validation.
I had 2 calls yesterday from friends who said they called me to talk to me about something and he answered the phone and they were pretty choked up about that. They're never really gone because you hold them in your heart.
I just think that is so divine order.
Yeah.
I just do. All right. So we go to mom and dad with Southern Comfort, which has no aspersions as to where he might be Southern.
Yeah, right. No.
He's definitely not. If anybody was like
wings with no problem, that man did.
He just, if anyone doesn't have to come back to settle their karma, it's probably our dad. Probably one of the kindest, wisest, and for all that, he was not much of a church attender till later in life. You know.
I know, but that wasn't what it was all about for him.
No, it was not.
He lived the life that he should have lived. He was good to everybody. He wanted to help everybody, including me with my math, which was a really difficult feat for anybody. But he was a really special kind of a guy. And if all of us could have a little bit of my dad in him, boy, they'd be all better off.
Yeah, he was not about going to church to pray to Christ. He was more like living a Christ-centered life, just by the way who he was. So
he didn't need to know what day of the week it was.
No,
to be a good guy.
No, he told me one time. He said, because I was very concerned, back in my previous religion, and I was so afraid that he would go to hell, and I couldn't figure out how could our dad go to hell? He's such a nice man and so wonderful, and seriously, And I said to him, well, Daddy, don't you think you should be going to church? And he said, no, I can be doing church wherever I am.
And he believed it. And I think it was true for
now,
him.
in his later years, he did go every Sunday.
Yes, he did.
We called that, we were thinking maybe he's cramming for his finals.
But there was no doubt in our mind, we know exactly which way he went.
Yep. And then next to him is our mom. So that's Henry Parda and Muriel Parda. Our mom, who was a card. She was a sketch. She was a piece of work.
She was lucky to have my dad, for sure.
She was Lucy Ricardo.
Every family had one.
Yeah. Oh.
She was a character, but she was crazy about Dad. There was never any question about that either. And he would go to church for her. If she wanted to go to church, he'd go. If she didn't want to anymore, if she was on a tear of, I'm not doing that anymore, he would stop, and it was fine for him. It didn't change anything. It was the same as it always was.
The only problem with that is he made it seem, our parents made it seem so easy to be married. We had no idea it wasn't like that. We thought everybody was like that. They loved each other, held hands. They didn't know it, but sometimes they chased each other around the house naked when they thought we were asleep.
Everybody doesn't need to know that. But we know it. We hold it in our hearts.
Like and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
They were really great people, both of them. And I can remember a couple times Don saying to me, he said to me, I told your father when we were on a trip to Texas to visit them, which is where they lived, of course. And he said, my mother was kind of giving my father a hard time about something, complaining about whatever she was complaining about that day. And finally Donald said to her, Henry, how can you stand all that? And my father said, stand all what? He just shrugged his shoulders, and that was that.
Yeah.
Because he knew how she felt. She knew how he felt. Either way, they were doing the best they could. They were raising a family, and they worked at it together. And it was I never had any fear that there was a problem with my parents being together.
Ever, all our lives.
We were the luckiest people, I swear.
Leave it to Beaver. Yeah, the things, I had the same conversation with my dad, and it wasn't so much complaining as trying to understand, because, my mom could be kind of a grabby butt. And he said the same thing. He said, doesn't it make you crazy when she does that? And he goes,
Here's to Dad. He was a winner, let me tell you.
I am. Yep, our dad. Why don't you tell him about up on the top shelf?
Up on the top shelf, we have the Gish family.
Only one's gone.
Only one's gone. That's Melissa's family. And the saddest thing, we did lose her a couple of years ago. But we'd like to honor her today because we finally had the opportunity to do this together. We closed the campground for the year today. We did our inventory like good little workers, and then we decided we were going to do this. Fortunately, my sister has all the supplies to do this lovely event, and I really appreciate it. But Melissa was a very special person. She was the youngest. She was 18 years younger than me. My mother was pregnant with her the day I graduated, which is a big deal. Big deal, especially for my mother. She was a talented, beautiful woman, and her life was just too short. She had 3 beautiful kids that we don't get to see them very often, but you know how it is with families. You start spreading out, and the time just disappears. Then you get older, and you go, I wish I had. This is one of the ways we try to reach out to everybody else and let them know, we wish you had too. We'd love to see you anytime. We miss you guys terribly. If we could get you to come back, come over to my house, come to the campground, we'd give anything to get to see you and the children anytime. Pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, we are family. With Melissa, it's a lesson that we learn is do not let it happen that you die with your music in you. Doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Express the real you that you are. Don't try to please anybody. Don't try to impress anybody. Just immerse yourself in like all the stars in the sky. all the snowflakes you've ever seen, each one is absolutely different. They can't find two that are the same. Same thing with our loved ones. So we also have, I have Sammy here. I'm going to pick this up so you can see it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my Sammy having her birthday we were at Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
And they make you wear a silly hat and they sing happy birthday to you. Just send that a little closer so maybe you can get a good look at my girl there. Yeah. So Sammy also died way too young and with way too much music inside of her. And she was so wonderfully gifted and insightful, and the biggest issue she had was that she had very low self-confidence. Now, a hacker's calling me, I know, because they call every day. I'm going to get rid of them. There you go. I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb. You know, we're still fledgling content creators.
I love the technology, but there are times when it's just...
Well, that was human error. As saintly as I feel I am, I'm human. But yeah, so she died with way too much of her music in her, and I pray knowing. One time I talked to someone who was a psychic, and I said, why doesn't she come to me in my dreams or something? And the psychic said, she's working on her stuff. She's got stuff to work on. So I wanted to just mention this. I'm wearing today, I didn't have a chain, so I put it on a piece. This is her Clada ring. And she so loved the concept of the Clada. And that's funny because she's Mexican. Well, she's German, Scotch, Irish, Polish, Mexican, Russian, Lithuanian, Native American. She has it all. And guess what? Tristan's got more because he's got his father's side too. But anyway, I pray knowing she's watching after us and watching after her precious son, my wonderful great-grandson Tristan, and making sure that things are good in our lives. And we always invite them to come, even, you know, this is our little thing.
We're really hoping that someday our great-grandchildren, who are here, some of them already, I have 4, and you have Tristan. Right?
For great-grand, yeah.
Yeah, great-grand. And we're so fortunate because you know how many people nowadays don't live that long, or the family doesn't stay together that long, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that we have what we have. We're very fortunate. I'd love to see them more, but I'm satisfied seeing them when I see them because the feeling that they're mine, you know, is so wonderful. And I want to be everything to them too. So anytime they want to come, I want to see them.
Yes, and that's another little reminder, like my kids are scattered all over the country. We've got, Nick and Frank in Missouri and Kansas, Mimi in Utah, Marky in Colorado, Frank and Sean in Long Island, Tristan and the Florida family in Florida.
Mine are all in Connecticut. I got lucky. Mine are all in Connecticut.
I didn't miss anybody.
Very, very fortunate. Yeah. I don't get to see them much more than you get to see yours, but that's my fault too. You know?
And that's another thing. Whether you get to see them or not, think about them. Keep them in your prayers. Call them. And some people get like, well, they never call me. You know what? Just call them.
Phone works both ways.
Yeah, but even if the phone works both ways, screw it if it only goes one way for you. For some people, there's callers and callees. Don't get an attitude about that. A bad attitude's only going to take all the good out of your life. So true. Now we also have, Valerie mentioned her horses. We also have our...
that's Winston, and that's Dakota.
Yeah, and I
no,
have...
it's not Dakota.
It's not Dakota alive. Dakota's alive?
Breeze is his name. It's not Dakota, it's Breeze.
And I have, this is my little figurine that for us today is representing Tish. Tish, my precious kitty that I got for Sammy. And then when she got married, she didn't want to take Tish away from me because she had another cat with her husband. And so I got Tishy, and we grew so close. I had her for 23 years. And I have little desire to ever own another cat, because once you've had the very best cat in the world, why would you even want another one? But I do have, when she was cremated, they made me a little paw print. So I have that. So I do keep it around, and one day I will scatter her ashes and Sammy's ashes and set them both truly free. But I'm not ready for that yet, you know? So you still got an unnamed dog.
Unnamed dog. Unnamed dog belongs to Kimberly, or belonged to Kimberly. And she passed on less than a year ago. I think she said 7 months. What's her name?
Jessie.
That's right. I'm sorry. Ever since I had COVID, I can't remember anything. The dog's name is Jessie, and she was a really special, sweet dog. Everybody loved Jessie. She was good. She was good. She was happy all the time, and it was a kind of a bummer to lose her. Kimberly has gotten an adopted dog now that she rescued from protectors of animals, and it's a wonderful thing. But she did have a toy dog made that's in the image of Jessie, and I swear to you, it looks just like her. And when you go in there and you see her laying on the chair or laying on the bed, you can't help but believe that's really Jessie. It's the look in the eyes and everything.
It's not really Jessie, okay? Just say
it is not really Jessie.
No taxidermy.
No, we don't do that taxidermy stuff. But she did get the ashes and had Jessie made into a dog that sleeps on the bed still.
She had a dog made that looks like Jessie. She did not have Jessie made into a dog.
No, she did not have Jessie made into a dog. No.
Let's be really clear here.
She had a dog made that looks just like Jessie. Yeah. But you don't have to feed them, you know.
So another thing that we do, I think we covered all of our ones that are here. We would like to make note of my in-laws, the kids' grandparents,
Donald's
brothers, Bobby. This is another example. We were going to cut out hearts and everything, but we'd still be doing this at midnight. We just decided sometimes you have to do it. You have to, yeah. And Bobby passed away a month before Donald did.
Yeah.
And it was one of those cases where he was on a submarine. Like, I can't imagine it, but he was for a long time. Not when he died, decades and decades ago, but I always wanted to talk to him about what was it like to be on a submarine. Is there someone you're not contacting that you say, oh, that's something I'm going to ask
putting
them?
it off.
Don't put it off. Don't put life off. It's happening right now.
Ask questions. When it occurs to you, don't hesitate to ask the questions. People are usually very happy to talk to you about something that you're interested in that happened in their life, or that they might be able to turn the light on for you, you know. It's always a good idea to ask.
Here's another interesting thing. In Unity, we say the thoughts you hold in mind manifest. So I was telling, after Bobby passed away, I was telling people about it, like, I can't believe I never talked to him. I never called him and asked him about submarine stuff. Would you believe Vince Westling, who is a work camper at the campground, was big time submarine. I mean, he put those things together. He did all and as an engineer on the sub. I mean, and so one day we have a camper. I was telling him about not talking to Bobby, and he was on a submarine. Then so he's in talking to me about sub stuff, and then Vince comes in, and then it was like I'm just on the sides going,
See, the world just keeps getting smaller, doesn't it?
Think about it and draw it to you. Think about your loved ones and draw them near. Now, one of the other ways that we do this is when we have, when you do Dia de los Muertos, you make food, your loved one's favorite food. Well, again, we were running late, so we didn't get to make the food in particular, like those soul cakes I talked about on Halloween. But we do have little things here. I'm just going to slip this out. So what we have is Donald loved candy corn. And so we have that.
I had to stock up on it on Halloween because by November it was gone and you couldn't get it for the rest of the year.
Shoot, funny. From my mom, she liked, these are stuffed dates. They're stuffed with pecans. They're usually stuffed with walnuts, but you make do with excuse me, what you got. Dad is the Southern Comfort, and then Sammy are these little hot. They're hot. They're like Takis. They're called Takis. They're rolled up, spicy little corn curly things, and she loved those. And then pistachio nuts, because who doesn't like pistachio nuts? Right. So if I'd had the choice, I would have made a taco salad for Sammy. She was, oh God, that was one of her favorite things. And of course my dad, our dad, man, he loved pickled pig's feet and head cheese.
Not gonna happen.
Not happening
Not
in
gonna
our
happen.
lifetime.
No, love you, Dad, but not gonna happen.
That is true. So that's what we've done. Oh God, Donald's calling back.
My friends are getting very spooked out when they call here and he answers the phone.
Okay, maybe he's telling us we talk too much.
Maybe.
So I just want to check, make sure I had notes. See, I didn't really need them, but I had them because it's real important to me. You want to listen to Don? Here we go. There we go.
Love you, sweetie.
Okay, so it wasn't perfect, and there were things missing, but do you remember those times when you'd have company pop by unexpectedly and they'd come in and you'd say, oh my gosh, the house is a mess.
Such a mess, yeah.
And what would they say?
Oh, it looks great to me.
I came to see you, not your house.
That's the
I
truth.
don't think that was always true, but...
You always worry about that kind of stuff, and most of the times they don't care about your house.
That's right.
They like you, so they're coming to see you.
Don't put it off. So enjoy all the people that are on this side, and invite and love the people on the other side. And we hope that you will even take a few minutes today to, if nothing else, light a candle and think about those. Oh, I didn't mention Joyce.
Oh, Joyce.
Yeah, Joyce is real important to us. My brother's former wife, and who passed away quite a while ago. But you never forget.
We still miss her.
Yeah.
Maybe she's watching our video.
I hope so.
I hope so,
I
too.
hope so. Well, to you, and to us, and to all,
and to everyone here,
happy Dia de los Muertos, and many blessings. Bye-bye.